Welcome everyone to our next Fractional Fusion series. I'm Sean Fry, founder of Embassy Group Inc., and I'm joined by my friend here,
Matt, with Fractional CRO. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Matt. Good to see you again. So, Matt recently wrote or published an article with SIA, and I thought, man, that would be a great topic for our Fractional Fusion series. And it's called, Matt, why don't you tell us the name of the article and kind of a high-level premise of that?
Yeah, so the article is based on, I called it the sea of sameness, and how staffing organizations can break out of this, what I call sea of sameness. So really the basis of it is Sean and I both have been in the professional services space for a long time. I've seen it really firsthand that every organization, and this is B2B in general, but I really see it firsthand in recruitment and staffing organizations. They all kind of act and sound and look the same. I always think back. I was leading marketing and CEO. We were basically trying to pitch a new idea of like how we wanted to position our brand, and I literally just put together a bunch of screenshots of all of our competitors and what they were posting on LinkedIn, and I put it on one slide, and it literally looked the same. The topics were the same, colors were the same, the imagery, like you could have taken one logo and put it on everything, and people would have thought, that it was the same company. There was really no differentiation, and it was very eye-opening for him to see that, and other leaders in the organization, that actually we were sounding and looking and acting exactly the same. So this article really, and what I discuss is there's a ton of opportunity, right? When everybody is the same, if you break out and some small tweaks, you can really capture a lot more eyes on your brand and a lot more opportunity for your pipeline.
Got it. So really dive into that quote unquote sea of sameness. Now, Interestingly enough, I know for this particular article, you looked specifically at the staffing industry, right? So what gaps are you seeing in the staffing space?
I think this staffing space, it's become very transactional. We all kind of, I think sales leaders, marketing leaders in general in that space have just kind of come into this comfort zone of like, we all need to talk about the same stuff. Like we have the fastest delivery, we have the best databases, like we have the best technology, and it all just kind of feels the same. Nobody's really trying to step out and be different. And I think it's just because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to kind of repeat the same stuff and tweak them every once in a while, every year or two. It's comfortable to just kind of sound the same. It's challenging and sometimes uncomfortable to act or feel or look a little bit different than everybody else. And I think that's where a lot of these leaders in staffing organizations that's how they've always done it, right? And they have a pretty good piece of business and they drive pipeline and stuff, but so they're safe and feel comfortable there. But like at the beginning, there's a ton of opportunity because everybody's kind of in that safe spot and they're all kind of talking the same B2B lingo and using the same terms and just tweaking things here and there, that if you make any even small tweaks, there's a ton of opportunity there.
Got it. So if we're speaking with staffing leaders right now who are maybe having that aha moment of, while we are in that sea of sameness, what can those organizations do to kind of stand out? What advice do you have there?
Yeah, and I think the first thing I would say, Sean, is like, you don't have to, it doesn't mean you have to go and spend a ton of money on a marketing campaign or like new imagery. A lot of times when I talk to staffing leaders, they think of like a messaging shift as like a brand, like a rebrand, right? And it doesn't have to be something. Yes, some companies need to go through a rebrand and they need to refresh, but 99% of the time it's not a rebrand. It's just a different way of telling your story. So a lot of the times the story is right there, right? You're already telling it internally, probably. Your clients are a key voice to this, right? Just honestly listening and talking to your clients. Why do they buy? Why do they buy your services versus others? Why have they stayed with you for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years? And taking those words, because those are authentic, right? And a client saying, I stay with you because your team did this, and that, or like because of the security I have, or the reliability, or like what are those words that continuously come up in client conversations that you're having with new clients and long-term clients? Those become authentic versus marketing sitting in kind of a a whiteboard room and coming up with like words that they think are innovative, or popping things in ChatGPT and seeing what comes out. Like that's not authentic, right? So take it from the people that are in the business, that are running the business every single day, take their stories and their literal words, and do the same from a client perspective and take their words. Because to attract new clients, you want to speak the language of existing clients, right? So if clients are saying ABC, these are the reasons why we work with you, these are the reasons why we continue to work with you, then reverse that and put that out into your marketing and sales messaging, because that's how they're thinking. That's how potential buyers are thinking of your services. And that's what they're ultimately looking for from a value perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Even within the embassy group, voice of customer is super critical. It's so valuable or invaluable, if you will, to understand the customer, what their needs are. They may not be able to articulate it, verbatim, but I think if you kind of listen to the context behind the messaging, that's super key.
Sure.
Now, in terms of understanding the sea of sameness and voice of customer, but how do you and your organization specifically work with leaders to kind of overcome that, if you will?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a lot of the times working with leaders and organizations in the space, it's all about simplicity for me, right? A lot of leaders and organizations have a lot going on, and they think they need to do, like, they have a marketing buzzword or sales buzzword, and they have to go after it. So they have to do this, this, and this. And then at the end of the day, what comes up is there's a lot of band-aids everywhere and there's no consistency, right? So a lot of our work initially is just going in there and understanding what's the most simple customer journey and customer narrative from the initial time that they see your brand, that they interact with your brand at an event, online, in person, whatever that is, all the way to when they sign on the dotted line, and past that, when you start servicing them and building that customer up. That narrative has to be consistent, and a lot of times there's like bits and pieces of it. And so really peeling it all back and simplifying into it a very clear core narrative, where you have, like, this is what we stand for, here's some value pillars of these are the key things that drive what we go out there, like our headline, and then here's some proof points. So here's client testimonials, here's data points from our database, whatever that is that proves what you're saying you actually do,
Yeah, yeah,
is really key. And then making sure that everybody sings from that same hymn sheet. I think that's really key, because if you have inconsistency, if somebody sees a salesperson at an event and they're telling, hey, our company does this, this, and this, and then 2 weeks later they see a post online that talks about something totally different, and then 3 months later they're sitting in a pitch meeting and it's totally like, they're not going to trust
yeah,
them, right? There's no consistency. So if you have a core, very simplified, this is our brand core narrative, that becomes a nucleus of everything you do, from marketing, sales, customer success, operations, all of that. And then you train the team on that, so everybody is singing and saying the same stuff, right? They might say it in a different way because of their personalities, and that's fine. You don't want everybody to sound like robots, but you need to drive that consistent. Just think of the brands outside of the staffing space, like, that have done this really well, like all the big brands. It's because they consistently, no matter what platform they're on, online or offline, it's that brand, because that brand promise sticks with you, right? And they're consistently driving that same message and that same narrative, no matter how or where you're interacting with them. And we don't really do a great job of that in the staffing space, I'll say.
yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. So, Matt, thank you so much for your insight. As we kind of wrap up, where can we find this article that's published with SIA? And also, are there any other takeaways that you'd like to share before we kind of close out for today?
Yeah, I think so. The article's on Staffing Stream, SIA Staffing Stream. It's a free online service. We'll pop it, I guess, probably in the comments as well, so people can take a look at it as well. I would say, just key takeaways for any leaders or staffing professionals out there. Just go back to simplicity. Like, what is really the core of what makes you better and different than everybody else in the market? And I guarantee you, it's not going to be your database, and it's not going to be the people, because I've been in the space for a while. You have too. The people kind of shift around and move around, right? But what are the core things that really make clients want to work with you and continue to work with you? Identify those and then simplify those and peel everything else back that's kind of creating noise, and go from there. And like we've said in other videos, Sean, if you want to talk, just reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to Sean. Happy to set up a conversation. Just talk shop, give ideas. Just discuss whatever's on your mind. Or if you want to talk about this more formally on one of our podcasts on Fractional Fusion, feel free to reach out. We're always looking to guests. I mean, I don't think we want to just see you and me talking all the time, Sean, right? We want to get other experts out here. So feel free to reach out to us either by email, DM, or comment here in the video. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys join us. Matt, again, thank you so much. And I will see you again on the next series.
Yeah, see everybody. See you soon.